Hey everybody, welcome back to Rusty Wrench Restorations. I'm Steve, and today is Prep to Paint Green Day. So as you've seen in some of the other videos, I was able to get the skid steer frame painted green along with the skid plate that I had built. I've got my hydraulic tank cap orange, my fuel tank cap red. I've got my vent line with a filter to keep the dirt daubers from growing a nest in there or building a nest. And we've got the new fuel tank in place. So, with that being said, I've got a lot of dirty work to do. So I've got the hubs for both sides. The right hand sides, they're over here covered up. So I've got to get through those today, get those cleaned up, make sure bearings are cleaned, greased, primed. I've got the hydraulic pumps, both drive motors, the valve control unit, filter assemblies. And those are really the big components that I need to get done, cleaned and painted so that we can start putting the drivetrain back together on this. I need to be able to get the hubs on so that we can put the chains back in, the chain housings. I got new tires mounted on the rims. I painted those a few days ago, so you'll see those probably in the next video. But yeah, just trying to get it to the point where I can get the drivetrain back together on this so I can start putting all the hydraulic hoses on, because that is going to be a nightmare. So yeah, and I'd like to get this thing off blocks so that I can move it around if I need to. And then of course we have the loader arm assembly, which is kind of tucked up here against the fence. And then the other small green things. We've got the quick attach assembly, the engine cover, the deck plates for the floorboards, and the center console. So with that being said, this is really my last free weekend for a couple weekends. Next weekend, which is actually probably going to be maybe the day that you're watching this, I try to get these Saturday videos done a week in advance, just so that I always have something to post up. But on the 15th, which to me now is next weekend, but probably when you're watching this video, if that makes sense, is supposed to be plow day at Indian Neck Farms in Hobbsville, North Carolina. Right now it's showing like 30% chance of rain, so I'm hoping it doesn't, but there is a rain date. So like my buddy Brian said, we're gonna move dirt one way or another. So but if it goes as planned, I've got a plow day that weekend. The following weekend I'm supposed to go down to do 4 tractor parts in Nashville, North Carolina, to get the Kubota engine to transplant into the Case 1816 skid steer. And I have some other things, other weekends coming up. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So this is my prime opportunity this weekend. The weather's good. I've got Saturday and Sunday with no plans, that I can finally tackle the stuff that I don't want to do. So to get all this stuff cleaned, degreased, adjusted, primed, and I'm hoping paint. So I think what I might do, I think I might move the diesel tractor out to the front yard and just leave it out there for tonight. It's not really a big deal, but that will give me this whole area that I can work in, as far as you know, I can tarp off so that I don't get overspray or debris on my frame that I just painted, which I think came out absolutely amazing. Yeah, my own #1 fan. Anyway, it came out pretty good. The paint was good. But anyway, it'll give me this whole area that I can utilize to get stuff cleaned, primed, and painted, tarp everything off. It'll all dry tonight, at least to the point where it's dry to the touch where I can move it. And then tomorrow I can kind of get all the new parts moved back down towards the frame and ready to start assembly. So if I'm able to get all these parts cleaned today and painted green either today or tomorrow, really everything's done for this skid steer except for the roll cage, which I don't have to wire a wheel down. I just built that like 2 years ago. There's no rust or anything on it. I do just want to give it a nice new black paint job so that it matches everything else. And then of course the bucket. Haven't quite decided what I want to do with the bucket yet in regards to color. I have to look back at my brochures and see what color it came originally. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. We'll get some audience input here. Do you think the bucket should be the John Deere green, or should I paint it black to match the roll cage? So if you get a second, comment below, let me know what you think. But that's about it. I've rambled on enough, as I always do at the beginning of my videos, but just want to kind of lay out the plan. A lot of stuff coming up, a lot of things I want to get done. And of course right now it's like the beginning to middle of March, and pollen season is upon us. Believe it or not, we've had some cold, long, snowy winter days down here. I'm ready for the warm weather, but with that brings copious amounts of pollen, and pollen does not go well with painting tractors. So if I can get most of this painting stuff done this weekend, and have it to where when I do have free time I can just assemble things and pollen gets on stuff, no big deal. But pollen is no fun trying to paint. So all right, let's get this tractor moved out to the front. And I don't know how much I'm actually going to video of me like wire wheeling and stuff. It's pretty boring, but just know that that's the goal. Try to get everything cleaned up, primed and painted, and that's it. So let's see what we can get done today. Hopefully we can make some progress. Alright, now we've got lots of room for painting activities. Time to get dirty. Man, I always forget how much stuff there is until I start laying it out like this. So we got the steering controls, the right side front and back hubs, the left side front and back hubs, left side drive motor, right side drive motor, aux pump, filter assembly 1, filter assembly 2, the drive motor pumps, all of the metal hard lines for the hydraulics. Let's see, we've got some floorboard skid plates, of course the loader arm assembly. This is the heat shield for the back. This is the left and right panels that go on the side over here to cover that access hole. I've got the foot pedal controls, the center console. This goes underneath the seat assembly there. I've still got the rear cast weight grill guard, the top grill guard, the quick attach, the brake pedals, and all 4 of the hydraulic cylinders, for 2 for lift, 2 for tilt. So, man, I wish I had a big sandblast cabinet. Anyway, this is going to take me pretty much a better part of the day, at least probably, I'd say at least 3 or 4 hours, but it's a needed component, and like I said, time is of the essence on this project because I don't have a lot of free weekends to work on this, and I want to get everything painted before the pollen comes. So the hard work that I put in today, getting this stuff stripped down and primed, and then maybe tonight, or if not tomorrow morning, I'll paint and be done with the hard part. You know, like I said, the only thing left at that point to paint would be the roll cage, which is no big deal, and of course the engine after I tear it apart and rebuild, which is yet another video. So like I said, I'm not going to bore you with going through watching me grind all this grease and grime and old paint off, but yeah, it's just a necessary component to a restoration. That it's not the most fun part, you know. Once everything's painted and clean and putting together, that's the fun stuff. So anyway, I've got these are the wire cups that I use. I think I've talked about these in other videos. Milwaukee, it's the knotted brush, not the crimped wheel. Those ones don't seem to do as good a job. Of course, I have a full face shield that I always wear because I don't like to have these little pieces in my face, and they do fly off. You will have them stuck in your sleeves and pants, so wear a sweatshirt and long sleeves. I use an old set of leather welding gloves just so that if I bump my hand with this wire wheel, which happens a lot, I won't get too injured. And of course a respirator, which I need to change these filters. I had these on here when I painted last. So and the reason for the respirator, well, you should wear one anytime you're doing removal or application of paint, but some of these older tractors, not necessarily this one, this is actually kind of a newer one, but a lot of the stuff from the 30s, 40s, even into the 50s has a good possibility of having some lead paint in it. So yeah, I don't want to be breathing that, and neither should you. So be mindful of old tractors for lead paint and any gasket material. Like this one I know isn't asbestos, but the gaskets that are on here, sometimes these old gaskets may have asbestos components to them. So just make sure if you're trying to remove them, you keep them sprayed down with some water, use your respirator, and don't grind or shred anything that'll create dust and particulate, because that's where the bad juju comes from. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna stop rambling so I can get this done, because it's gonna take a while. And hopefully the next clip here maybe will be in primer. Who knows? We'll see. All right, well, here we are. Like I said, it's been about 4 or 5 hours, and I've just finally finished getting everything wire wheeled and somewhat cleaned down with brake cleaner. I still want to go over some more of this stuff a little better with some more brake cleaner, but I'm out and I gotta get some more. So with that being said, I'll show you what I did. All right, here are the 4 hub assemblies. Really didn't do too much with those. I knocked off the loose paint and whatnot. This steering assembly was pretty nasty. I mean, it was caked with all kinds of grease and grime. You know, as you can see, I don't take every single bit of piece of paint off. There's just no need. It takes way too long. This valve assembly needs some attention. Excuse me. And the hydraulic pumps, I need to go back over some of those too. I know the sun's probably going to be funny, kind of glaring over here, but anyway, here's my tractor mobile, all of the parts and pieces hanging. So like I said, tomorrow morning I'm going to let me duck down here so I get out of the sun. So yeah, tomorrow morning I'm going to go get some more brake cleaner. There's a few more little things I want to touch up here as far as getting everything cleaned up. And then I will encapsulate with my plastic, spray some primer, let it dry for a couple hours, and then shoot some green. So, and then I'll just let it sit for the day and dry, which is fine because everything is painted except for the bucket and roll cage, which is awesome. So anyway, that's it for today for me. But the video is going to continue, and you'll see this tomorrow, probably in primer. So here are my rims. You can see I got the new tires installed. I had painted them last week, and I brought them to the same tire place that I go to, that I've been going to for years, and I never have an issue. Look at Sweaty Buddy over here. I had them put these new rear tires on here. Rims look great, even though they're old and rusty. No issues, no scratches, no gouges. But these clowns, I guess they got a new guy working in there, and instead of getting the tire machine on the edge of the lip here, he put it inside, and not only did it scratch the paint, but it literally gouged into the steel. So I don't like it. It looks junky. I'm gonna have to touch them up, and they're all like that, just in varying effects of messed upness. So you know, the place I went to, they were gonna get their manager out, and I don't know, whatever, maybe give me some money back. I don't even care about that. The point is, the damage was already done, and they need to hold some training and hold him accountable so that he doesn't do that to somebody's Escalade wheels or something, you know. So anyway, so while we're waiting for the paint to dry, or the primer to dry, I think I might attend to these wheels, get those touched up, and we'll shoot some green. And for what it's worth, I get it. It's just a tractor wheel, and I do expect there to be some paint chips and gouges, and that's not a big deal. I always end up having to touch up a little bit, but the fact that these things are like 6 inches in length, it just spun on the jaws. They weren't proper, you know, tight hold the rim, you know, just a little extreme. So I'm not being nitpicky or anal about these things. I know it is a tractor tire and it's going to get scratched up anyway, but I guess I just look at it as from the pride and professionalism point of view. If you're a guy doing tires, what makes it okay to have paint chipped and scratched off these wheels, but not one for, you know, an expensive car? So pride in your work. If you're going to do it right. You should treat all wheels the same. Doesn't matter if it's on a manure shit spreader or a brand new Ferrari. They take your time, make it right. Customer, it's their property. You know, you want to make sure you take good care of it. Oh, there we have it. Everything's in green. I don't typically video when I paint because the spray dust gets all over my phone and makes a huge mess. So you probably won't see that anymore, but figured you want to see at least how, I don't know how it goes down. It's pretty quick. I mean, being in that hyperlapse, obviously it's fast, but it doesn't take long at all to spray everything. I do go through ahead of time in some of the really kind of hard to reach areas, and I'll get it with a John Deere green rattle can, just so that I'm not focusing too much time in a small area or like in a hole or a crack or a crevice with the spray gun, because then it really just builds up too much paint and you end up with runs. So here's where we're at. Got the 4 hubs done, obviously the mobile of parts, and yeah, it's good to see it in green. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this in the video, but that hardener really gives it a nice shiny glossy surface. You can see the reflection of the lights in the ceiling. And of course, yes, it is still wet, but it's not going to change too much from that when it's dry. So things like this, the pumps, lots of awkward spots. This here where there's a hole in the loader frame where the hard lines go in, that's one of the areas that I got with the spray can before I started. And there was another one over here on this side as well. So just to ensure, got a nice good coverage everywhere, because the last thing you want to do is find out that you missed a spot. So yeah, it's kind of tedious. I usually try to, I mean, this is just my technique, but I usually try to, let's say for the loader arm, for an example, to get the inside parts and underneath first, because as I spray the outside and the top, which are the parts that you're going to see all the time, some of that spray dust might kind of go underneath to the inside and bottom parts and gives it a little bit of a rough texture. So by doing the parts that you don't see first, finishing up with the parts that you do, will ensure you have a nice smooth glossy finish on the parts that you're going to see all the time. So anyway, green's done. This will sit here probably for the next day or so, and just dry. It doesn't take long to dry at all with the hardener in there. Probably within an hour or two it'll be dry to touch, but about 24 to 48 hours and you can move this stuff around and do what you want with it. So the hardener is an amazing thing. Obviously makes the paint harder, a little more resistant to chips and scratches. It dries a lot faster, and then for me the number one reason is just because it gives it that nice thick glossy shine. I mean, you can see it's just beautiful. But anyway, I don't do clear coat. I've had some experiences in the past spraying clear, and either the paint underneath wasn't quite dry, or it dries at a different rate than the clear coat, and you start to get wrinkles or cracks. And at the end of the day, it's a tractor. So again, it's not going to the Smithsonian. I do want it to be preserved so that it won't rust or rot, and I do want it to look nice, as I take pride in all my stuff, but it doesn't have to be museum perfect. So, oh, I touched up the wheels too. And here's the wheels. They definitely look a lot better than they did with all those scratches in there. But yeah, nice set of new shoes for the old girl. So anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Lots of painting, got all the green painted. I think I have like the little center console, and there's a gauge panel that I have to take the gauges out of, and I'll just paint those by hand, not a problem. And then that's it. The only thing left to paint on that is the 4 hydraulic cylinders, the roll cage, and the bucket and bucket lift assembly. So again, please comment below. Do you think I should paint the bucket green or black? So I think it'll look good either way. It hasn't ever had any paint on it since I've had it, so I don't know. The brochure, let's see what the brochure has, because I'm a brochure aficionado. This is black and white, but you can clearly tell that bucket is black. I don't know as though I have any color ones. Here we go. All right, well, there it is. The bucket's black. So the bucket and the roll cage will be black, and the rest of it will be green. Yeah, I love all these old original brochures, as you can tell. So I scour eBay looking for anything that's related to the John Deere 70 skid steer, and it's pretty cool. Look at this, they even had a backhoe attachment for it that you can put on there. So anyway, like I said, wrap it up for today's video. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.